All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Terence Crawford turns down an offer from Keith Thurman about Keith Thurman begging on social media about Terence Crawford, we should fight and stuff like that. And Terence Crawford says, I only want Errol Spence Jr. Right and smart decision by Terence Crawford. So, I'm going to break it down to y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. Please sure that you like, subscribe to the channel, and also share the video to get all your latest boxing news. With that being said, Terence Crawford came out recently and says that he's not going to fight Keith Thurman. That fight is behind him, and the only fight he wants is Errol Spence Jr. And I agree with Terence Crawford 1,000%. I think Terence Crawford should focus on Errol Spence Jr. because this is the fight that everybody wants to see. This is the fight that's the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. And this fight could happen in October or late September. And this is going to be one of the most dynamic, most historic fights we have ever seen in a very long time. And I cannot wait for this fight to be made. And I'm glad that Terence Crawford has turned down Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman had an opportunity to make history in the welterweight division when he was unified champion, and when he told Errol Spence Jr. to go get a belt from the UK, he went ahead and got a belt, and Keith Thurman still didn't want to fight Errol Spence Jr. And we guys know the whole story at the time that Terence Crawford wanted to fight Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman was looked at as the man at that time. And now the tables have turned on Keith Thurman. Errol Spence doesn't want anything to do with him, and so as Terence Crawford doesn't want anything to do with him. And a lot of people is concerned with only one thing about Terence Crawford is that he's already been out the ring for an entire year. But a lot of people feel like that Terence Crawford stays in the gym. He's always staying sharp, and he'll be battle ready for any fighter on any given night. But a lot of people feel like that, you know what, Crawford, you should give this guy Keith Thurman a shot. You should might as well just go ahead and beat the brakes off of him since Errol Spence Jr. already had a fight. He's still going to be fresh out, got the ring rush knocked off. He's still going to be fresh on his feet by the time this fight comes to fruition between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. And I think Terence Crawford, in my opinion, I think he should take the fight. Even though Terence Crawford in this last fight did have a little bit of ring rust, I think he should go ahead and take a tune-up fight within Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is not an easy fight for anybody. The man only has one loss. He only lost to Manny Pacquiao. We all know that he lost the belt because he didn't want to fight for the WBC. The WBC vacated the belt from him. Then he lost the belt on a split decision against Manny Pacquiao and stuff like that. So I wouldn't mind seeing Terence Crawford getting in the ring with Keith Thurman and beating the brakes off of Keith Thurman just to stay busy, because you're going into a fight with the A+ fighter with Errol Spence Jr. that is going to be looking good on any given night, and he's going to be 110%, 120% sharp and on his game and be ready for whatever Terence Crawford has to throw at him. And I feel like that Terence Crawford should take the fight with Keith Thurman, but if Terence Crawford wants to go straight to the big fights and give the fans that we want to see, I am cool with that 110%. Terence Crawford is doing the right thing by wanting to fight and getting this big fight with Errol Spence Jr. because he wants to show the world that he is the best welterweight in the world, that he is the #1 pound-for-pound king, and he wants to prove to the people that he is the best. Now, me personally, I am an Errol Spence Jr. fan, so I'm going to ride with Errol Spence Jr. So if you guys haven't heard my sneak peek of a breakdown, you can either go check out my Teddy Atlas video or you go check out my Keith Thurman video. Those videos are still up. So I'm not going to keep this video too long. I'm just glad that Terence Crawford wants this fight as bad as Errol Spence Jr. And we guys know that Terence Crawford is still with snack and stuff like that. And my advice to Terence Crawford is just be careful and watch your back around this Victor Conte dude, because he'll try to do anything shady to get you caught with something, because this dude was served prison time. He was the biggest distributor in steroids to sell into like soccer players, baseball players, mainly baseball players, and now he's looking to make his way in the boxing game and probably do the same thing. He says he has a clean slate a clean slate, and Fred from Barbershop Conversation exposed him and called him out on his crazy mess and stuff like that, accused him of steroid cheating, what the man has did. So, with that being said, Terence Crawford says that he only wants Errol Spence Jr. and he doesn't want anybody else but Errol Spence Jr. because this is the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. We would like to see well, actually, Terence Crawford is going to be a little bit older when he fight Errol Spence Jr. Like I said before, he's going to be 35 years of age. He's going to be at the absolutely best of his prime. And I think that if I was Terence Crawford, I would fight Keith Thurman just to stay busy and get him out the way, because I think Terence Crawford can knock out Keith Thurman, in my opinion, or stop him towards the body. But if Terence Crawford wants to go straight in the big fight, be my guest. So with that being said, guys, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.